There are always going to be things I wish I knew for any one of these gig company videos going around, and so for mine, it's going to be about skip the dishes today. For those that do not know, my name is Ash, and I'm a gig worker here in Montreal, Quebec. South Shore of Montreal, Quebec at least. And currently I work for Uber Eats, DoorDash, and Skip the Dishes. And I want to talk about the things that I wish I knew, because I have been working for Skip the Dishes now for 2 years, on and off. And there are things with their platforms that you need to be aware of that I've learned, and now I'm going to pass forward. So the first thing that I wish I knew before I became a Skip the Dishes delivery driver is the fact that when it comes to canceling an order, you gotta go through a person, not an app. So Uber Eats and DoorDash allows you to cancel an order or a batch or whatever you want to call it within the app. You just go in and you can click cancel and get rid of it. But with Skip the Dishes, you have to go on with a support person. Now, waiting in queue for somebody to come up can take time. And if you're waiting to cancel a batch because you have to talk to somebody and Skip the Dishes is your only application, well, if that's the case scenario, that means you're not getting any orders. So if Skip the Dishes decided to ever improve that, that would be great. And if you need to know how to cancel a batch with Skip the Dishes, there's a video right here that I'm going to link up because I show you how to contact support to do that. Another thing that I wish I knew before I became a Skip the Dishes delivery driver is the fact with Skip the Dishes, their application's always crashing. A lot of us complain about Uber Eats and DoorDash, but honestly, the top-notch crasher is Skip the Dishes for me. The first thing is when you open up to go and confirm your shift. It's constantly loading, launching, updating, researching on the bottom of the screen, and it's a pain in the ass to deal with. Then you get it up and loaded, and you go to click start your shift, and then the app re-crashes again. And then you gotta reopen it, and then it's launching and reloading and and stupidity written on the bottom of the screen. Skip the Dishes is probably the least perfected application that there is, and because of this, they have a lot of difficulties. Another thing that I wish I knew before becoming a Skip the Dishes delivery driver is if you are under a 30% acceptance rate with Skip the Dishes, expect to be sitting on a 4-hour shift with barely any orders. It's not because my market is not good for Skip the Dishes. I can assure you there are Skip the Dishes orders. But Skip likes to penalize their drivers if you aren't accepting orders. They're going to push it to the other drivers. Uber Eats, for example, never does that. I'm going to get shitty orders across the board with Uber Eats, whether I have a good acceptance rate or not, but at least I'm going to maintain getting some orders. But with Skip the Dishes, it's like they automatically just blacklist you when it comes to being a delivery driver with them if you don't have that set up. Now, another thing that I wish I knew before becoming a Skip the Dishes delivery driver is when you select the markets that you want to drive in, I believe they allow you up to 4 markets. What they're going to do is if you have set up your preferences for automatic scheduling, and I've also made a video upon that, then what they're going to do is literally put you where they need you. Let me give you an example. Here where I work, I like to target the Brossard district, but I had myself enabled for Brossard, Longueuil, and Montreal. Now, that doesn't mean that I want to go to Longueuil or Montreal. Brossard is my main district, so I would hope that Skip would push that. But no, if you're signed up for any of the other locations beyond your primary, what they're going to do is they're going to pre-automatically schedule you for those markets. And then your main market that you're going to try to schedule yourself often won't have any availability. So what I had to do is I had to go in on Skip the Dishes and change my preferences to remove Montreal and Longueuil and just keep Brossard, meaning I'm only in this market, just so they will push me actual scheduling in this market. But if you don't do it that way, unfortunately, you're going to be scheduled to your farther markets and never get a schedule the way that you want it with Skip the Dishes. And the last one that I wish I knew before I became a Skip the Dishes delivery driver is the fact that when you have pre-automatic scheduling set up, sometimes we like to cancel a schedule because it's not going to be convenient for us. The more you cancel a schedule, even if it is days in advance, the more that Skip the Dishes is going to avoid scheduling you. And this is something you need to keep in mind. It's okay to cancel a shift with Skip the Dishes because you don't want to do it. But the thing is that if you're not going to want to do it, and let's say you do it 2 or 3 schedules in a row, they're going to not bother with you. They're just going to be like, okay, we're not even pushing at a schedule. And then when you go to open shifts and try to find one, you're not going to find any. Now, some people say that's because in that market area at that time, they don't need drivers, which could be. But what I've realized is it only happens when I cancel their schedule throughout the week. If I do it on the week and I fulfill the schedule, they'll be nice to me and give me more scheduling. So Skip the Dishes is a little bit more strict that way. And because they do charge for a background check, I think they should be more lenient. They're the one application that costs you money in advance to start with them, but they have so many restrictions. So I hope this helps you decide whether or not you want to set up with Skip the Dishes, and I'll catch you lovelies in the next video.